So, a single father notices that his little boy James is talking in the garden. Him not having many friends, and with them being slightly new to their new home, he notices and wonders who he's talking to, if he has made a friend or anything. He calls him in for lunch and then asks his son James who he was talking to. James simply tells him it was Laughing Jack. Thinking what an odd name, he asks him why didn't he invite him in. Jack, Laughing Jack, he's not here now, James told him. James says that he can only see him. That's when he realised he has an imaginary friend, thinking it nothing as a harmless phase and that it would pass. One night, the father went to sleep and had a very bizarre dream. The whole place was black and white and he was in a carnival, a circus, where there was music playing, including one theme playing called Pop Goes the Weasel. And before the music's climax, he then noticed that there were some figures, children, disfigured and mutilated. And then that's when he heard a sinister laugh, just an evil laughing cackle from this evil force. He then woke up in a cold sweat. Brushing it off as nothing but a harmless dream, he woke up and noticed that there were some toys, some action figures lined up against his dressing table. Thinking his son James put them there, he went to put them back, but he noticed that James was still fast asleep. Thinking nothing of it, he put them back in his toy box and then started his day preparing breakfast for his son James. He then let James play out in the garden whilst he relaxed in the living room, keeping his eye out on him. Relaxing so much he actually fell asleep and woke up hours later. He then went out and rushed out to see if James was still in the garden, and he wasn't. Anxious and nervous, he called out his name, shouting, "James, James." He then found James on the front. Wondering what he was eating, he asked James where he got the candy from. James simply telling him Laughing Jack got it. Him telling him to stop messing around and asked him where he got it from. Now, his son never lied before, but what he was telling him was impossible. He took the candy off him and threw it away, and told him to spit out whatever he had in his mouth. Looking back, he thought he would be overreacting and then thought maybe he got it from the neighbours. Anyway, the day drew to a close and he put his son James to bed and tucked him in. Feeling tired himself, he also turned in for the night. Then, he was all of a sudden awoken by this huge bang downstairs. Everything clattered and knocked over. He rushed downstairs fast, and there he saw the kitchen all trashed up, everything thrown around, including their dog, hanging by a light wire, with its stomach cut open and sweets, the same kind of sweets James received, stuffed into its stomach. He then heard another loud bang coming from upstairs in James's room. Grabbing a knife from the drawer, he ran as fast as any parent could and found James in his room, cowering in his bed in a pool of his own urine. The bedroom was all smashed and trashed and everything. He then picked up his son James and then ran all the way to the neighbours as they were still up. and they called the police. The police told him someone must have broke in, but there was no signs of any forced entry. Terrified, wondering what the hell was going on, the very next night, he was vigilant, made sure that his son James was safe, putting him to bed and getting out an old baby monitor, so whatever was in the room he could listen to them. He then went to bed as he couldn't keep awake for much longer. He then awoke as he heard a noise on the baby monitor, thinking it was some faint noise, but then heard some disturbing noises. He quickly got a knife from under his pillow and ran straight to James's room. He opened the door, only to find that he stepped in some warm liquid, trying to turn the light on, but it was not working, until James's bedroom light had come on, and there he saw him, his poor little boy, nailed to the wall by his hands and feet, his tongue and eyes being cut out, and his chest also cut open with his organs hanging out. Hearing a faint groan, he noticed that his little boy, James, his poor child, was still alive. That's when he began to hear that laugh from his dream. That same cackling laugh. And there he saw Laughing Jack, a tall clown with long arms and a striped shirt with black feathers and black messy hair and pale white skin, and a huge grin with sharp razor teeth and dark empty eyes, with a spiral black and white nose, and there he was, laughing and cackling away, and admired his display, laughing and chuckling at him. The father said, "You bastard," as he attacked him with the knife. Laughing Jack had then poofed into smoke. There he stabbed his little boy's beating heart as blood splattered on his face. He then heard the sirens coming in closer and closer and closer. Being charged for the murder of his son, he was then locked away in an asylum for the criminally insane. Feeling safe at last, only outside of his room, outside the window, he hears that merry-go-round music of Pop Goes the Weasel, and sometimes the evil laugh of Laughing Jack. Thinking he won't worry about that now, and he would tell the staff in the morning.